Hello there, my friends, and welcome to my channel. I'm Kate in the nest, and yes, I am back in the nest and I am gardening. So can't wait to sit down and stitch with you this afternoon, and was wondering how you're feeling. How's your day been so far? It's Saturday here. That's why I slowed down to do that in my voice. Like my brain's going, oh, what day actually is it? It's Saturday. And I am coming to you in my jammies and fresh from a nana nap. I don't know about you, but sometimes after busy times, your body just tells you it needs to have a little catch up. So I've been through that, and now I'm going to do some stitching. And my reward to myself this Avi is to do, after this, my other favorite things to reward myself, and that's to make something new. So on my list this afternoon after this is to make another necklace. I think I've showed you this before. Kristen taught us how to do this last Friday, and literally I've worn it every day this week. Love it so much. And she's lent me her beading tray. I bought another container, so I'm going to make some of my own jewelry, the Savi, after this. And I'm going to make a new wearable, and you'll see more of that in a little while, because you've seen me making my shirts and things for a couple of years now. So yeah, just stay tuned on that. But basically, I have been stitching for well, I stitch every day, but on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I have my Fleur workshop, which my Fleur and Kate what do we call it? Textiles and Treasures workshop. So I had the opportunity during that workshop to demonstrate my work and to stitch. And so I've got a whole lot of pieces I could show you, but I thought, because it's a bit gloomy and drizzly outside, so winter is coming, as they say in the movies, I would start you off with this collection, which is Fleurs in the Woods. And I apologise if I've shown you this a lot. I don't think I have, but I have now 4 pieces. Little baby, middle size, and big size. So let's start with the biggest one, and there'll be one other because I always work in odd numbers and I've got 4, so I need one other. Anyway, I won't share what I'm thinking of doing with that, but we will see. Okay, so the idea is I am collaging as well as colouring in, thread painting the existing flowers on this tapestry. So that's the big one. It's hard to remember, but I have done such a lot. What I'm playing with in this series is a lot more variation of textures in my threads, but no DMC, like no stranded cotton. So it's all either wool or perle in different weights, or shashiko, Japanese thread, and gifted fluoro thread from Christy at Soviets. So that's what's in common to all of them. This one, you can see, is quite heavily worked. It's this middle one that we might have a look at until the story on, because it's still got areas that won't remain the same. To go back to the beginning, I started with this one, and I've been gradually colouring in this French beautiful fabric underneath. I've done some things that I don't like. For example, I tried out that stem in pearl cotton, and I don't like it, so that will go. And in fact, we might do that now. Let's just start pruning the garden, which gives you time to breathe, or you to have a little relax from me, and me to gather breath. I just found these little scissors and I feel like using them. They're a little birdie. Okay. So you don't see me unpick often, but when I look at something 2 or 3 times and it stands out to me, and it did stand out, then just thought it's got to go. So part of my mindset in this one is still my flower to flower. So I have added flowers in from various textures where I feel there could be more bloom. So for example, under here is obviously green leaves without a flower. So this is a little piece of sari that I put on the top and have joined the stem. But see, I like it much plainer than highlighting the stem. There's still work to be done here. I don't know what I'm going to do with my butterflies. I keep talking about beading. I don't think I can go straight to a beaded butterfly. And I'm going to weave, I think, the centers of these flowers. But as I said, here I am on this one. I'll take this one out because I'll probably end up stitching it. So here's a different, again, this is, every single piece is different, but they're in this series, the common thing is the material behind. I've placed down here, you can see, this is the original tapestry, and this is one of the new roses I got from Judy that I showed you whatever day it was that I was very teary, and I plonked that there. And up here I have a Sanderson rose that doesn't look like a Sanderson rose, and your eyes, like mine, are probably saying, what on earth were you thinking? Because it's brown. But I'm gradually colouring in little bits. I love how I've got more than one needle in one piece. I try and keep a needle in every piece so I don't have to go running. So let's just have some play with this because it needs the most work. I've got this cherry sort of variegated wool, and at the moment I've been working, I think I was working on this and then the Nana Nap need took over. So that's why I'm starting a video for a change with a threaded needle in situ. So I've been up there. Let's come back up. I think I've told you already, but just in case, I now have 2 weeks. 2 weeks technically at home where I am going to make and make and make and create and create and create. Within that 2 weeks are 2 open studios, a few visits and drives to places to visit friends, and then 2 weeks this weekend I'm flying to, I'm going into Wellington, meeting our gorgeous friend Bron from Melbourne, and we are then flying over to Nelson, and we're having almost a reunion of people that we have seen recently, as it's sort of a start of Fleurs' next set of New Zealand workshops, and I happen to be lucky to be at the beginning. So Fleur and I are repeating, well, you can never repeat, but you know what I'm trying to say. We're running our Textiles and Treasures again, and I already cannot wait. And what I must get better at doing is like other people, showing photos added to my video here on YouTube, because if you're interested, I've just today shared some of the flowers in vases created at this week by the women. It was, I'm truly, I'm honestly, see, I can't say the word shocked, and I don't want to say the word proud, because then that's on me. I just want to say that it has been so special to watch women create, be free, and always remember, I'm going to be here as long as I can, sharing with you. So you don't have to go to a workshop. Of course, if you can, I'd love to meet you in person. But exactly the way I do things here, which is really just have a chat, love you to bits, and have a giggle and fun, is, you know, the way I approach workshopping. Of course, we're teaching skills and process rather than product. But the magic is being all together in one room. So we can't quite replace that in our virtual community here, but we sure get close. And there's so many different YouTubers that you can be watching and learning from. So I am just happily being able to chat away, because you can see this doesn't take a lot of concentration, because I'm just going to where the deep blue is, or lavender, and putting pink over the top. And when the thread runs out, I don't do the same thread. I do a different color and go somewhere else. And in a collection or a series like this, that's the joy of it. You can never get bored, because there's lots of flowers in the garden. We're doing one at a time, and then flower to flower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do I want to sketch? Yeah, I've got a bit of wall, and I'm just thinking, do I want to stretch down here? It's going to be a big extent on the back, but actually I do. So if I was a little spy on the wall, I don't like the word spy, but if I was on the wall in your house or your craft room right now, what would I be seeing? Are you all beautifully organized and planned out? I know many of us have multiple projects, and I was encouraging people not to apologize for not finishing, because I think I see what we do here, and all of us, as art, and artists have multiple canvas. Well, we're artists, but I was thinking then of painters. Like, just by very nature, if you've ever seen an artist studio, it has lots of pieces on the wall. Sure, some that need to be finished and are the focus, but also, you know, ones that are right for a particular time, and then they will change. Okay, let's look at this big bloom here that won't end up being all white like that. And let's choose, oh, I know what I wanted to show you. Feeling pretty good with myself. I hope I've got the other one. How good do these look? These are the spools that I found the other day in, there you are, bit of music, in Dirty Jane's. So they're French, and I know a lot of people do snippet rolls, and I do have a bigger one and a tinier one for snippet rolls, but I think this is the way to keep me tidy, because even with me putting things in different packages. Oh, look, there's a Turkish delight. Do you like that? I don't do a lot of chocolate, but that was last night stitching with my husband and feeling celebratory. And this is a perle, so I've just wound them on because it's worth a try, isn't it? I can't do the tiny little, and even the shishika. Well, they seem to be staying on better. I mean, I have got some smaller ones, but before this all gets crazily knotted, I just think also that's so beautiful. So it's a light gold, a deeper gold. So let's use one of these. Is where I started, and let's go deeper gold. Just keep that out to be happy. So some of you might be saying, well, Kate, why are you starting with gold? I just follow my intuition. And the one thing I've been explaining to lately is that what's different with this style of approach to stitching is that I want my stitches to be seen. So rather than camouflaging them and making a exact copy of this rose, if that's what it is, I think we could call it a rose. Every stitch that I add is purposeful in that it's actually, at this point, joining the rose to the fabric underneath. But also it is going to contribute overall to my particular style, which I said to Fleur is probably is probably like when I used to paint abstract. Landscapes, and now I'm doing abstract gardens in a different medium. But it is the essence of the flower with made up, or garden with made up colours and flowers. How about that? And I have always, and I still, and I will continue to admire incredibly those of you who can do the exquisite work that is realistic, and Fleur is one of those. I mean, if you sit beside Fleur or look at her book, the stitching is absolutely incredible, because that is her artistry and her embroidery and her mastery of stitches. And there's a place for all of us, because I can't do that. And I've shown you over and over on here, like, what I stitch when I've been with Fleur. And I'm now more confident to stitch, but what comes out is more like me. So what's my message with all that blubber? Just, if you feel like having a free stitch, I know some people talk about doodle stitching. Can I add something to your list to try? And that's pick up a flower and colour it in and not use the colour that the fabric is telling you to. Now that might be a step too far, but even by doing it, you can probably find out that you hate doing that. And or for others, especially people who haven't stitched for a long time, I know I'm very simplistic, but really if you can get the needle in your hand and get it threaded and go up and down in this sort of style, you just get a sense of accomplishment straight away, because you're freed from counting threads and matching or unstranding cotton. It was funny, we were all reminiscing about, you know, our backgrounds, and quilters, I think, particularly beautifully eloquent about, you know, how they've been taught and the rigor required to, you know, cut out accurately first of all, and then to stitch the corners together. So always in awe of those skills. But there is a time, sometimes, if you feel like it, just to have a wild play. It's like, you know, colouring in on paper or doodling on paper when you just don't want to concentrate. I've got all these little threads, who knows where they are. So all I've done so far on that rose is put some gold stitches. Yes, they're wonky. Have I coloured in exactly? No, I haven't. But that, at least the top is down enough so I can take away the pins. And I want to, probably before I go any further, hope you can see, get some of this going. And let's use a different colour. Just looking at that, that's some of my lollipop pink. Where are the others? Yep. So it's the same colourway. I'm wasting your time, so let me stop wasting your time. Don't want that colour. What's already out? I've got some of this that didn't go on the spool because there was a knot, so let's just use this. This is Fleur wool. I've ordered heaps and heaps to dye up because I sold out of all my own and shared it, but I'm surviving on the very generous kit that Fleur gave us in the 5-day retreat, and I bought some as well. So here you can probably feel that there's a lot more fabric all of a sudden to be going through, and we're in the center of this rose, and really I'm not going anywhere that is planned, but I just know now after a bit of experience that I can make usually these stitches look like they belong if I follow the areas of the rose underneath. So just taking lines or shading areas and colouring them in. busy, but have we stopped? Have you stopped like I was just then and thought next week it will be June, halfway through the year. Which means all sorts of things. And in our stitchy world, it means that I'm going to do my newsletter next week for June. And I know there's been a flurry of sign-ups, so thank you and welcome, welcome, welcome. Because I'm going to be announcing in that some exciting news about the rest of the year. And also the Kate in the Nest collab, and I call it a collab because I'm collaborating with you people, that we're going to work on from July through to December. And I think I may have mentioned it before, but I want to be organised. That's a hint. And for you to have a chance to be organised as well ahead of that. So newsletter first, and then sometime after that I will be talking about it on here. Okay, so that's ended up turning into some colouring in there, adding texture, and probably for a bit of fun at this point, I like to think of the diagonals and let's add here some shashiko. Look at that little horsewhip. Oh no, not horsewhip. What are they called? So you can tell this is where my brain's a bit tired. Is it a different needle? Of course it is, but it's fun and I can thread it in a hurry. Yeah, the tiredness of my brain for talking for a lot of days, and I worked yesterday as well in my other life, which was a really successful day, I have to say, but again, a lot of chatting. Forget's brain. I can't even remember why I started. What was my main point? Oh, that's right, I couldn't remember the name of that little Suffolk pup that's come to me now. So I hope you can hear it in my voice. I have missed you. I have missed having happy home days, and what a wonderful combination of a life I've got right now. And not all of us. I haven't had this in my life before, and many of us have to work in different ways, but I am now an advocate. I want to teach and help facilitate younger women still with their kids, to see if we can get more people stitching, and in particular hand stitching, because it's so portable. It is so good for us, and I wish I hadn't had to wait till now to get back into it. So there we are, a little bit of a call to our cause. And I know that those of you who've made the Tote of Hope experience that when you wear it out and people are curious and it starts conversations. So not too bright, but it's just starting to add a little bit of lightness to this corner. And now let's stop that stitch and do some of my favorite at the moment. I like to call it a running stitch, but really it's a back stitch with a space. So you get these sort of little spotty flowers, spotty stitches. And when they're in a variegated thread, they get you places, they get the work down, but they also just delineate different sections. Oops. I knew that was getting a bit tough there. You know what? Let's just leave that because you've got the idea there. Sometimes it goes a bit puffy. Usually in slow stitching we wouldn't want that, but in this case it's all well, that's already started to be puffy, so that one will puff up, and I quite like the effect of that. I'm going to leave that Sanderson brown rose up there, which is looking more like a tulip, and let's snip over to what's something else that we could okay, up here I've been doing little tiny picking out the colors underneath here, and I've deliberately been doing them in different variegated threads. And I feel like they could be brighter. So I've just picked this up. I've gone through virtually all of my what's that called? The one to fill version of this perlé. Sharing it because we made lots and lots and lots and lots of flowers together. So do you remember I was saying I had 2 needles there? There's a needle over here that I'll use. I just accept now that I have to have packets of needles beside me, and then people will find them for me, or at the end of this session they'll go, oh, that's where that needle was. But let's not waste time. Okay, so I'm going up here, not at the back. And this is really satin stitch, traditional satin stitch. And that we're just going up and down, almost like these are like little berries. And so they're coming out a bit red now, which again introduces a colour by accident that I wouldn't have threaded up. But we know that soon. Or maybe not, maybe this is a pretty red bit. Oh, it will turn into pink. Actually, course, I could go down there, but I'm quite close to this flower up here. So it's a little sari bit. Let's do my favourite stitch in red, which means I can get rid of this pin. And see, this is what I mean. Personally, I don't care that I have put red onto that brown leaf. And the point was to get up here to these beautiful, beautiful pink flowers. And let's see if we can just, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a red center with the satin stitch. If we like it, we can do the others, and if we don't, we'll just do one of them. I actually preferred it brown. So what I'll do is when I decide, I'll probably weave something over the top. But seeing we're here, let's also experiment if we could join some of this red to these purple berries and make up a little flower. Flower to flower. A little bit up here. What do we think of that bit of red in amongst the flowers? The purple. Probably can't even see it. But yeah, I think that's nice and subtle. Okay, that's my work to go on with. So, spool, gardens, middle-sized garden with one more to go. I even thought about, yeah, I don't know, but I do love this very big one, which is all getting so scrummy and textured now. So thank you for watching. I have lost one garden, buried the scissors. You can see the blanket is all different sorts of blankets. Just, just know that we're not worrying at this point about how to finish them off. We're just making gardens. I hope that's made you smile. I hope you are having fun doing whatever you are doing. I'm thinking of you, and thanks for being with me and sharing your precious time. Happy making and stitching. Until next time. This is Kate in the garden, in the nest. Bye.